back to a time when men were men, women were mud wrestlers, and the Mac Daddies of metal were Mötley Crüe.
Just because we wear lipstick don't mean we can't kick your ass.
And they soaked up the rock star life like lunatics.
They ran through houses and wives like other people changed their underwear.
From their high-end headbanger couture.
They went on a crazy shopping spree and spent $60,000.
And their head-turning sports cars.
Nothing like an Italian sports car.
To party pads so insane, they set the rock star standard for the next 20 years.
It was literally a house on a mountaintop.
And trust us, the parties themselves raise the bar forever.
We're talking strippers, models, porn stars.
Plus, from vintage tees to a brand new tour, we've got the goods on Mötley's incredible comeback.
It's a perfect time for Mötley to come back. I mean, where's the competition?
We're still Mötley. We still rock.
This ain't your normal fab life. It's a flippin' flashback. This is Fabulous Life Classics, Mötley Crüe. Take a journey back in time to the magical decade known as the 80s. A time when trousers were tight, morals were loose, and every substance on earth got abused, especially hairspray. And nobody lived 80s excess to the max like these four leather-clad LA dudes. Nikki Sixx, Vince Neil, Mick Mars, and Tommy Lee.
Welcome to the world of a Mötley Crüe.
Take your wildest fantasy of the ultimate rock star life. The booze, the girls, the drugs. You wouldn't even get close to a day in the life of Mötley Crüe.
We f***ed the chicks, we shot the drugs, we wrecked the cars.
They spent money like it was water. They ran through houses and wives like other people changed their underwear.
They were so badass that from 1982 to 1991, Mötley Crüe sold a mind-blowing 13 million albums, collected over $40 million in concerts, and at the height of their career, they were taking home an annual salary of more than $10 million. Yeah! So what does a young rock star millionaire spend all that booty on? Anything and everything he wants.
Fancy cars, of course, are the luxury toy for rappers today. That's exactly how it was for Mötley Crüe back then.
The car's capable of doing massive miles per hour.
Because back in the day, nothing said rock star like a kick-ass sports car. Especially the Crüe's car of choice, the absolute must-have automotive status symbol of the 1980s. It wasn't an IROC, it wasn't a Trans Am, it was this, the $90,000 Italian stallion Ferrari Testarossa.
Nothing like an Italian sports car.
One guy would get a Ferrari, the next thing you know, another guy would get a Ferrari. It was like an arms race.
Vince started it, it's his fault.
Tommy was talking about this Testarossa he wanted to buy, and he saw Nikki a day or two later, who pulled up in the same model, same color, before Tommy could go get it.
Testarossa in Italian means redhead, so I felt I had to have that.
But when it came to car buying bravado, no bandmate could touch Vince Neil. Consider this. At one point, Vince Neil owned a staggering 32 cars, including a Lamborghini Countach, a Ferrari Mondial, and a Rolls-Royce Corniche. The one problem? He only had a 3-car garage, so he actually installed hydraulic lifts so he could jam even more of them inside.
And each of the garage stalls has got a lift. There's 2 more sports cars, one on the floor and one on a lift. So there were 6 sports cars in the garage.
But for the Crüe, it wasn't just about having the fastest ride or the fattest. No, they also needed to be the loudest. Yeah! Take bassist Nikki Sixx. He owned a chopper so loud, it was criminal.
Nikki's exhaust pipes were by no means legal.
They were synonymous with the badass attitude, rock and roller, loud and clear.
In 1989, Nicky hit Glendale Harley in California and dropped $16,000 on a Springer Softail like it was pocket change. And then spent another $3,000 to crank up the decibels.
It was roaring up and down Hollywood Boulevard. It was a great time. It was great fun. What less would you expect from a guy like Nicky?
They were the first guys to really go out there and spend the bucks on the huge mansions.
And of course, if you're a rock star, no ordinary LA mansion will do. Mick Mars, he didn't just buy a kick-ass castle, he bought his own damn mountain. Because his $1.4 million mansion stood high above Malibu on a peak known as Mars Mountain.
It was literally a house on a mountaintop.
You had to climb 2,000 feet to get to Mars Mountain, and then you had to drive all the way to the top of it just to get to his house.
Mick moved out there because he wanted privacy and he wanted to get away from it all.
Vince Neil, he wanted anything but privacy. So Vince bought a pad where he and his friends could party their long-haired asses off.
Vince.
There's a lot of trouble.
So he dropped $1.5 million on a house in California's cush San Fernando Valley and added the ultimate party accessory, a mud wrestling pit, so he and his guests could get down and dirty.
We're talking strippers, models, porn stars.
Vince had a weakness for girls who mud wrestled.
I would do anything for one.
Then there's Tommy Lee. He built this $2.5 million custom love nest for then-wife Heather Locklear in a posh gated community of Thousand Oaks, California. At 7,000 square feet, Tommy Lee's lair had everything a rock star needed, except, of course, enough places to park. So to stash his cars, he also bought the lot next door for $900,000.
Tommy had a huge collection of cars and nowhere to park them, so he bought this choice piece of property next door to park his cars.
But the crewmate with the most impressive mansion? Bassist Nicky Sixx. In 1990, Nicky bought his own palace in the LA suburbs. With marble columns, a staggering 12,000 square feet, and a separate chauffeur residence, it was a house fit for a Colombian drug lord.
Nicky called it his Scarface mansion.
It was pretty excessive for a guy and his wife and baby. They couldn't find each other for days in that house.
This house was so over the top that it cost Nicky $40,000 a month just to keep it running.
But there was one feature that was worth any amount of money. This. Nicky's 40 by 40 foot custom built pool, complete with a hot tub and his very own in-pool bar.
This pool is unique because there's not another one like it. Nowadays, you're looking at about $200,000 to duplicate this particular pool.
But it wasn't the extras that made Nicky's pool a wonderland of wetness. It was the unique shape. Because according to Nicky, it was actually modeled after a part of the female anatomy. A very private part.
He built an elaborate pool in the shape of a vagina.
Haven't heard that one. I had no idea.
Now that's a full-on love canal. Coming up, from $1,200 wristbands to $5,000 assless chaps, we'll expose Mötley's insanely expensive wardrobe.
We cater to the sophisticated rock star.
Plus, if you thought they lived large in strip clubs, you'd be right.
Mötley only tipped in $100 bills. There's a lot of trouble.
And later, they're back. Step aboard the Mötley Crüe comeback tour.
Nobody really goes to the extra effort to put on a show like Mötley Crüe.
When Fabulous Life Classics, Mötley Crüe return.